Sade. This is Josh coming at you with another episode of Anime Reviews. This week we're going over The Executioner and Her Life as a Slut. What is the name of the show? The Executioner and Her Way of Life. Overall thoughts on the show? No. You don't need to watch the show. Bye. No, but seriously, this show's not it, man. It's just like, hey, we're an isekai. Let's do this, guys. Isekai? Anyone over here want to do some isekai stuff? Oh, maybe we throw some Shojo stuff in here. Maybe some action. And then you're like, okay, that might work. But then it mixes all together and it just comes out as crap. And you're like, what happened? What happened to the show? I don't know what happened. And I guess neither do the writers. There are some parts where the show will just bat over your head. Hey, this is happening. This is happening. This is happening. And it's treating you like a kid, and it'll just keep repeating the things over and over and over again. You're like, dude, I know what's happening in the show. I'm watching the show. Like, every episode, there's a recap at the beginning. They do get a little shorter as the show goes on, but it's like, dude, why do we even need recaps every single episode? The only acceptable time to do a recap is at the beginning of a season and only for a few minutes. If you do it every episode, you've lost me. So, whatever, we'll get into the characters next. First, we got Menou, main girl character. Blonde-haired girl, has an outfit. Don't really like her outfit, I'll be honest. She has these little yellow things on her shoulders, that's part of her cape. I do not like the yellow, it does not go with it. But besides that, she's very generic. She doesn't provide anything to the show that I care about. She's literally just there for the plot to advance the plot, and her power level is all over the place. Sometimes she's really weak, other times she's really strong. If the plot wants her to be strong, she'll be strong. If not, she's weak. LOL, you'll figure it out when you go. Next we got Momo, who's the main character's assistant, and she's pretty annoying at the beginning of the show. She comes across with a lot of Kuroko vibes, like from Railgun, where she's just all up on the main character like, hey, love me. You wanna love me? Pat my head. Come on, do it. Oh, say something mean to me. Yes, I love it when you do that. And it's just, come on, she's not about this. Let's do some real stuff in the show. But then, luckily, she moves off that pretty soon afterwards, and she ends up being the most useful character in the entire show. Like, the main character will throw things to her, and she's like, hey, you need to do this for me, like, to kill this entire organization off. She's like, yeah, I'll do it in like 10 minutes. And then she leaves, and she does it. She does it. She doesn't even mess around. She gets it all done, and it's amazing. And it's like, what the heck? Why didn't we get this girl sooner? And outside of that, I kind of like her character design as well. She's got this nice pink look going on. I like her hair more when it's down. Sometimes she loses her ribbons, and that's when it really looks good. But, you know, it's pretty decent. Yeah, Akari. Yeah, she was a character. She was kind of the same deal at the beginning, actually, where she's like Kuroko again, just falling after the main character, except it's like times 10. And it just keeps happening for the whole show. And she's like, hey, love me, I love you, love me, I love you, you love me, aren't we a happy family? And she's like, girl, I ain't Barney, and no, I don't love you. And they just keep doing this for the whole show, over and over and over again. It's like, girl, shut up, she doesn't love you. On top of that, she actively hinders the goals of the show the whole time. The main character's like, hey, don't get caught. And she's like, yeah, I won't get caught. And then she does some ridiculous stuff, and she almost gets caught multiple times throughout the show. At least she has some cool badass moments besides that, because if she didn't, she would be irredeemable. Speaking of badass, we come to Ashuna next, and she actually is useful in the show. She's a badass for most of the show. She's just there to kick some butt, and that's it. She kicks butt over here, she kicks butt over here. Hey, you need help? I'm gonna do everything. And she does it. It's awesome. She doesn't really associate with the main group ever, but she just happens to show up and does all the work most of the time. So, hey, I'm fine with that. She was fun to watch in fights, at least. Now, unfortunately, we get to the part of the show that I don't want to talk about, which is the plot. The plot starts out with some dude getting isekai'd into this world by the nobles of the land. He shows up, has no powers that they care about, so they kick him out and isekai somebody else into the world instead. That's a little bit funny. He gets recovered by the main character in the show, and she's like, hey, I help out lost people in the town. Let me help you out. He's like, cool, let's do it. I'm going to be super powerful, super awesome in this world. I'm going to bring all this forbidden knowledge from Japan in. He walks around the corner. There's a bunch of Japan basically in this world. They're like, oh yeah, there's like 50 other people that have already reincarnated. You're not special. You have nothing to offer. That was pretty funny. I was like, okay, I appreciated that little jab. But that's kind of where it ends. A little bit later, she ends up just killing the guy, and it's like, aha, you can't actually exist because I'm an executioner. And I'm like, yeah, that's the title of the show. That was probably obviously going to happen at some point. So he ends up getting killed off, and I'm like, okay, maybe this will be like a funny little like interaction thing that goes on throughout the show. Nope. For the rest of the show, we're actually going to move on to the second person that got isekai'd into this world. She's got some healing powers that are overpowered, so the main character's like, oh yeah, I need to kill her, whatever, let's go do it. Tries to kill her, actually has a permanent zillion ultimate, so she can just come back to life no matter when she gets killed. So main character gets mad, she's like, okay, this is busted, I need a report, so she goes to talk to Riot, and they're like, yo, you need to bring her to the HQ so we can get that bug fixed, and she's like, ugh, fine. So Menou and Akari go on to this train trip to get over to the capital to get her killed, and the whole time you've got Momo and Akari just doing the stupid, oh my god, main character loves me. Wait, one sec, I have to do this over here. Main character loves me. Oh, one sec, I have to do something over here. Main character loves me. And I'm like, dude, we get it. Shut up. I don't need to hear this for the whole show. So yeah, anyway, they're on the train, and all of a sudden it gets hijacked by some terrorists. By the way, they're terrorists. They make a big deal to tell you that they're terrorists. I'm like, wow, is this some America propaganda or some stuff? We don't need to call everyone terrorists. This is stupid. Whatever. Oh, and also, they're not just terrorists. A couple of them are rapists as well. Like, because they're like, hey, girl, take your top off. Why is it that any anime these days is just like, hey, by the way, woman, rape. Yeah, right now, we doing it. And it's like, dude, we get it. You're a bad guy. You don't need to have this be the thing that makes you be a bad guy. Every single show does this. Stop doing it. It's dumb. They have them show up in the town. The church ends up being evil the whole time. Ha ha ha, the church is evil. The church is always evil. The church is evil in every single show. Can we be a little bit original sometimes? Just sometimes, a little bit. At least during this church thing, there's a bunch of cool fighting scenes that go on. Like, you've got Momo, who just goes into super ultra badass mode and just kills everything. And then at the same time, Akari's doing this time travel stuff that's just like, by the way, I win the fight. But you didn't do anything. Yes, I did. And everyone just disappears. It's like, that was pretty cool. And then main character does literally nothing. Oh, but she does get a lot of exposition dumped on her. The show likes doing that, by the way. They'll just be like, hey, do you have 15 minutes? Because we're going to do a flashback with a bunch of exposition. Or, oh, we're going to have this character just dump a bunch of exposition onto the show. You ready? Too bad. Then, unfortunately, we get to the bad half of the show, which the rest of it, which happens by some ocean city, where they're just trying to kill off Akari still. They throw her into some fog, and she's like, lol, no, I can't die to that. Comes back, and then that's pretty much all that's interesting that happens. They have this whole part where this person tries to, like, do Plague Inc. with the whole town and get everyone infected by some disease that then makes them part of her body and then make her super powerful. But unfortunately, she doesn't wait long enough for the main crew to leave the town, and then the main crew is just like, yeah, you're not really that strong. We're gonna make it seem like you're actually strong, but you're not really strong, and we're just gonna like make it take a couple episodes to do this fight, and then we're just gonna kind of one-shot you with this flame swordsman. And then I'm like, okay, I guess we have a Yu-Gi-Oh crossover, but whatever. And that's pretty much the whole show, and I'm just, okay, whatever, I guess that was a show. Can we move on to something else now? Quick side note, I got these Cheetos at the store the other day. Look how they cut this bag. They didn't cut it on the line. They cut it way down here instead, and they just messed the whole thing up. Sorry, that was just some random thing that was bugging me. Anywho, back to the show. Opening and ending. The opening was not good. It was just boring, generic. It existed. It was a show. I feel like I've said that about half the things in the show, but it's true. I didn't really like the intro. Animation was uninspired. Music wasn't great. I skipped it pretty much every single time. The outro, that was okay, actually. It was a nice little chill vibe. It just, you know, ended the show. Nothing too inspiring, but it was fine. Anything else in the show, though? I can't even think of another song that happened in it. So overall, the OST, I'm going to give it a downvote. That was not it, guys. Next, we're going to talk about the dub versus the sub. So I actually watched most of this show dubbed, only a couple episodes sub, just so I can compare it. And overall, the dub was pretty good. I liked most of the characters. Except for, oh, you know, just the main character. Yeah, they didn't pick a good voice actors for the main character, which kind of sucks because, you know, it's the main character. You're going to hear them the whole show. So that was pretty unfortunate. I think what they were trying to go for is, you know, the main character was supposed to be this girl that had no emotion, and they kept doing this in the flashbacks. They're like, oh, you're an emotionless girl. Even though in the whole show she has emotions, like, the whole time, and they don't address why. But anywho, I think the voice actors was like, okay, I'm gonna kind of go for like my normal voice, but do no emotion to it. And it just didn't work. It didn't fit. It felt weird. I can't really describe exactly why it was weird besides that. So, whatever. And now we come to the rating. I'm gonna give this show a nasty 5 out of 10. This show is not it, guys. Don't watch it. It was pretty generic. It was a little scatterbrained. It didn't know what it was doing. The characters were pretty annoying throughout the show, and it was not a fun show. So, don't watch it. And with that, we finally made it to the end of the episode, thank God. So thanks for watching, guys. Please give it a like and subscribe if you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.